Okay, so this is chapter 13 of Gaia's Retribution. It breaks down basically like hell on earth and CIA declassified files, MK Ultra, mind control, sex slavery, the slave trade, the soul trade, everything. Chapter 13. I got out of the hospital in a couple weeks, and I continued on with my mission. I never had more than a Facebook page before this. I figured out mind control and started doing heavy research on Project Bluebird, Artichoke, and MK Ultra. I looked into Project Pandora, which I believe is the use of microchips from the 60s, reintroduced in 2017, right in time for COVID in 2019, and symbolic of Pandora's box. I looked into HAARP, which is HAARP, where the government is controlling the weather, making clouds and seeding existing clouds for rain, chemtrails, and ELF, in which they use electromagnetic frequencies to program people, in addition to the use of vaccines, which are littered with microchips. David was military and received the vaccines needed to be in the army. I figured out all of this must have to do with the vaccines, but hadn't yet delved into COVID. What I found out about COVID was it was made at 666 Wuhan lab. That was one of our bio labs. And numerology has to do with that. It's like spells and curses and stuff. That's why they use 666. And the CARES Act, HR 748, I believe, was like a slave act, and it was signed by Donald Trump. It was the COVID relief bill. That was before COVID even came out. It was in March, I believe, and our first outbreak was in December of 2019, I believe. It isn't just vaccines that have nanobots and nanoparticles in them. The air, water, and food you imbibe is all chipped. This is to implement a matrix on the population. The elites intended on destroying the planet and having all of us live in a program while everything went to hell. I believe this is what I think. This is a problem while the earth suffered, maybe I should say. This is a problem because this is where I thought we were reincarnated on earth. We're actually reincarnated in heaven to come back to earth. So this is what I was wrong about. I started getting telepathic word about the nature of evil entities and their purpose. It was supposed to be end times, and there was a slew of apocalypses lined up that were already bet on by the Illuminati and the whole Masonry, all of them. They intended to game us and watch our demise in these tragic situations, one of them being an AI zombie apocalypse. Religion was made to divide us. War was a blanket mission to harvest negative energy for the reptilians, which they feed off of. The United States government made treaties with certain alien entities. The Gaia Treaty dates back to 1954 with Eisenhower and outlines that Greys could use human women for progeny. I believe it was in exchange for technology. The Greys supposedly overcloned themselves to the point where the females' reproductive organs didn't work. I wonder whether they just eradicated their females altogether. Human cloning goes on today. The first human cloned and publicly discussed was in 2002 and was named Baby Eve. Clone-Aid is in Toronto, and where celebrities are sent to have clones of themselves made. There are many celebrities coming out now claiming that they have a clone and that this is how they manage to get so much done. I also think they might kill off celebrities that don't comply with all of their rules and things like that, and then put clones in their place or cyborgs. The Draconians, I believed the Draconians are fallen angels, but there are actually Alpha Draconians and Alpha Reptilians as well. So I'm not sure if the Alpha Draconians are the fallen angels or the fallen angels are above them. But it's different levels of demons. They use people as containers. The demonic entities, along with the fallen, jump bodies and feed off the essence of their victims. This is what I was told by somebody. It was explained to me that the essence gets fed off of until the victim is left in an infant state and cannot survive in the body or on its own any longer, and the body dies. Without, I guess that's what I was told. Everything catastrophic that happens on Earth is signed off by humans with these entities. The Galactic Federation is a grouping of good aliens that I don't think they can interfere with our dealings with the Greys, Dracos, and Reptilians, and humans are weak, desiring comfort in this lifetime and not looking past that. They had a time to come, and they did. Just to help save everyone for Ascension. That was their interference. They are allowed to interfere somewhat, but peace is their mission. I believe that the reptilian is also figurative for cold-blooded, and the cold blood cannibalizes the warm blood, leaving little mammalian left. People who stay in line are a part of the system, a machine that buries the individual. Ignoring the obvious that our planet is in dire need of support and humans and other entities alike not being respectful of nature is how we've gotten here. Allowing the government to survey and judge everyone is also another facet. Worshipping and listening to people because they have money, clout is another reason. Give them bread and circuses and they will never revolt. A quote by Juvenal. The world around you is staged. LeBron James has come out stating that you must sacrifice loved ones to be great. He means literally. The Illuminati demands sacrifices in order for you to climb the ladder in the entertainment industry. Politics are staged and our votes don't matter as the Pentaveret, a small grouping of 5 white men, I believe it's 5 white men, it might be 6, because usually you have the pentagram, you have 5 people and then 1 in the middle, so it's possibly 6. It is 6, it might be 6. Have long-term plans for the outcomes of the elections before they've ever even happened. Wars are planned and public figures buy into scripts of their lives. The plays and games and sports are even scripted out prior to because the injuries and athletes get are scripted. It becomes a monster that must feed, and fame comes along with that. In television shows and movies, a cast is called just that because they are casting spells. Language is a spell in itself. I would never sacrifice anyone for fame and fortune, let alone one of my family members. I personally wouldn't be able to live with myself. Once you have sacrificed a loved one to Satan, I believe you become a skinwalker. I believe this is when reptilians are able to slowly take over your body and use it as a container or meat suit, some people would say. I refuse to join as I value my freedom. My mother had refused to join as well after her student hunted her down after she retired from teaching. We did not submit, and I urge people to stop false idol worship of people of high status with lots of money. I'm sorry, what did I say? I lost my place. To stop false idol worship. Yes, a social credit score has been implemented in China already and is supposedly coming to America. In China, if you speak out against the government, you can be fined through your social credit score. Skynet is the calculator, or was. As well, I found evidence that the third temple in Jerusalem is a temple to the Antichrist. Silver was supposedly supposed to become the new currency, if the dollar happened to collapse. They intend to make everything digital currency, a cashless society. Agenda 2030 wants us all in smart cities which are dictated by income. The World Economic Forum wants us all to eat bugs as if the food we buy isn't fake and toxic enough. Bill Gates has been splicing chicken with meat with dog, from what I heard. The vegetables and fruits are becoming bendable, bioengineered food. Products like Kraft mac and cheese and Pepsi use human kidney fetal cells to enhance the flavor of your foods and beverages. I think it's the company is I forget the company name, but I have it. I'll tag that in a video after I finish reading my book. The food itself doesn't actually have the aborted material in it, but these companies utilize the abortion in this way. Which means food companies are buying up your abortions from Planned Parenthood. The legs of Warren Buffett, Donald Trump and company are having people hunting parties on private islands. Children are going missing constantly, and there is an auction up at Walmart as they are constantly rotating the missing children posts, and the Clintons have their hands in Walmart and Amber Alert. Nothing is as it seems in our world, and the bodies of some of your favorite celebrities are taken over by reptilians. Cardi B has a video out where she glitches and says how much she hates humans. Beyonce has a video where she is scared of something but can't say what, and her eyes have begun to go black when performing. All popular music has satanic frequencies in them. Also, I believe they murder people and remix the murder into the song. It's remixed as a ritual. At one point, David was playing rap music, and I had to go into the bathroom and run the water to drown it out because I could feel the darkness descending on me. My chest became heavy, my heart rate increased, and I became increasingly anxious. I felt like I was going to have a heart attack, and I also felt like I was suffocating at the same time. Just as music has satanic frequencies in it, there are also frequencies to elicit an emotional response. We have frequencies for healing as well. 432 hertz is the frequency for healing the body. 963 hertz is a manifestation frequency. 1111 hertz is a divine frequency for getting in touch with your angels. There are many other frequencies. There's like 528 as well. The CIA has put frequencies in the airwaves for animal abuse, domestic violence, child abuse, etc. There are frequencies for everything, and most of all, they put out frequencies to control you. Murder as well. Operation Crimson Mist was the use of frequencies in the airwaves that caused mass genocide in Africa. The Hutus attacked and killed numerous Tutsis, and it was because their government sold them out for a CIA experiment. Hotel Rwanda is about this genocide. Jay-Z's mistress had an aneurysm, and speculators say that she was pregnant with his baby around the same time Beyonce was announcing her pregnancy with Blue Ivy. Some people say that it was actually Kim Porter's baby, and I believe they used witchcraft to kill her. Curses, conjuring. There are direct energy weapons that the ultra-rich have in order to fix problems like these. As well, Jay-Z is a warlock and Beyonce is a witch. I believe it's Beleth and Marianne, and they're actually like demons in human skin. They practice occult magic and are not even human anymore at this point. Joe Biden's first wife died in a car accident, and he married his children's nanny. If I have been afflicted all my life with visions that I know the government can alter, what's to say they didn't cloud his wife's perception in order to bring the accident to fruition? Divorces are always messy for people in politics. Occult magic is used in assassinations like this, where they can use you as a conduit, have demons working through you for causing accidents like this one. The school shootings and mass shootings that have occurred are all due to programming. MKUltra is a big part of it. Alex Jones talked about Sandy Hook being a hoax. I don't know enough about it, to be honest. School shooting coverage uses crisis actors to discuss the incident with the public. They are programmed efforts, even if it's just through video games. Video games are a huge part of the MKUltra project, as are phones and televisions. On your television are 3 cameras, 2 hidden in the bottom corners and 1 in the top middle. This forms a Pythagorean triangle, which pays tribute to the secret society, the Pythagoreans. That's what I believe. You are watching a television through a portal, and on the TV are demons. It's like its own portal to hell. Some of the people that you're watching, due to having signed contracts with the Illuminati, surrendering their souls to Satan, are not even human anymore. The demons have taken over their consciousness and are involved in sex trafficking rings, sacrifices, the consumption of adrenochrome, and cannibalism. This includes pedophile rings. A large amount of them drink adrenochrome, the adrenalized blood of children. This means there are children hooked up to pumps and scared within inches of their lives, with children tortured in front of them, amongst other things. They are tortured at adrenochrome farms, which are much like torture houses for children. The adrenalized blood of children is said to give them power and an incomparable high. They are known as the adrenochrome demons to me. Elon Musk's family's emerald mines and that of De Beers also run trades in sex trafficking, as the tunnels stem off from these mines. Blood diamonds, which De Beers sells, are mined by slaves. The stock market is a breeding ground for the outsourcing of labor and is the main antagonist in human slaveries of all kinds. There are plans for different apocalypses and betting pools for civilian slavery in the market already. We are part of a slave system as well. It used to be based in predictive behavior, but now they can control us using microchips. They needed something more extreme. Analytica was something used on Facebook to study predictive behavior when it had to do with the elections. Trump administered that in 2020 to determine the outcome of the election. Now they have it all cornered, and people's free will is being infringed upon while they video game us. Demons worked through electricity before. The technology in the COVID shot allowed them to access to jump bodies, I believe. And they may have had access before based on the amount of your reptilian blood and how much you've allowed it to cannibalize your mammalian blood. Elites meet at Bohemian Grove annually. Presidents and politicians, people in power, billionaires and artists congregate here for the cremation of care ritual, amongst other sacrifices. They burn a bundle of sticks in the shape of a person before a 40-foot effigy of an owl, Moloch, and the child-eating god. Alex Jones had infiltrated Bohemian Grove and recorded the entire ritual and posted it up on the internet. You can hear someone screaming as they burn the bundle, which makes me think that they actually do. They do real sacrifices. It's just, you don't see it. It's behind the curtain. In the ritual, they describe living forever on the backs of man and their misery. Chapter 14. I had a dream while I was home about an alien invasion. I was at the supermarket with my father when the invasion began. I was separated from him and I ended up out in the parking lot. I saw bodies on stretchers covered up all over the place. There were some people just wandering around, but they had a blank stare on their face and were not registering me as I called out to them. I kept trying to find places to hide until I got into a car with a man being abducted. The aliens spoke to me. They said, "Mother, we love you. We want to procreate with you." I wondered why they did not attempt to take me over like they were doing with everyone else. Maybe they couldn't. Maybe that is why I'm tasked with writing this book. What I saw was a purple brain with long, thin tentacles penetrate someone's brain with the tentacles. I think the alien brain then attached itself to the brainstem of the person. A television screen then appeared where their thoughts used to be. It's programming. They spoke to me through their new host. "Do you love us like we love you, Mother?" I told them I didn't want to procreate with anyone in this life, which was the truth. They had taken over everyone in this manner. In the dream, I honestly believe I was seeing the alien invasion as it was happening, for I have prophetic dreams and visions. It wasn't long before I started getting word about the zombie AI apocalypse. It started with drugs in our streets, followed up by the COVID shots, allowing demon entities to access bodies. They have plans for reanimation. There are levels to everything in phases. Donald Trump got a $4 billion payout, supposedly, from the Saudis for a real zombie AI apocalypse. The Muslims saw their culture falling to Western civilization when the women started refusing to wear hijabs. There was a zombie virus that was 48,500 years old, found in a permafrost recently. As well, I hypothesized that you can take necrobiotics, witchcraft, something like ADHD on steroids, because of some of the mental disorders that are caused by the government, and demon entities and a reworked version of rabies technology and make a zombie virus. They also used witchcraft in this, too. It's epidemiology is what I propose that they did. They might not have needed the rabies and the ADHD. They might have just... They said their zombies are slow. I'm listening to them right now. But, that's... I'm telepathic, so I can hear them. But, they had been making, like, having mock zombie... they supposedly had been having mock zombie trials in, like, unmarked government territories, cities or whatever in the United States or in other countries, and betting on them. A health bot on X retweeted it. It is actually the mRNA in the COVID vaccine that can trigger a zombie, I believe. Elon Musk was speaking publicly about mRNA, and he said with the right sequence, you could turn somebody into a freaking butterfly. I posted it on Klaus Schwab's wall and Bill Gates' wall, and they subsequently blocked me from commenting on their pages. Borge Brandy had me blocked from posting on his page before I even knew who he was. He is the head of the World Economic Forum. They also planned the opening, I believe they planned the opening of a planned an opening of the zombie apocalypse park in Dubai, India, because the Illuminati seem to have a sick sense of humor. They love to rub things in our faces before they do them. As you noticed, I have a lot of movie references. They follow different laws than we do. It's not karmic law. I believe I saw something on Crimean law, which means if they expose us to it, even in movies, which they do, they don't have to pay for it in the afterlife. This is what I think they follow. I have reprogrammed the entire system to karmic law. We reprogrammed the system with Fibonacci sequence. High-level executives, stockbrokers, lawyers, actors, writers, politicians in the fellowship, the papacy, the royals, the crown, Scientologists, and others are all members of a high society and are part of a vampiric masonry. Actually, it's the masonry, it's not the Illuminati. In the reptilian cabal, once someone sacrifices a loved one for fame, it allowed for a demon to take over the body slowly, I think. The entity in David was the head honcho of the Illuminati. The Antichrist consciousness later will tell me telepathically that he is head of a massive crime syndicate and a xenophobe. When questioning him about his name and identity, he had told me he became David. He used to tell me he had met with Migos and the likes of famous people when he would drop me off at home. I just didn't realize he did this by jumping bodies. This means Hitler never killed himself, he just learned how to run the show without being traceable. I went back to David despite realizing that he was the Antichrist. They must have clouded my judgment, because despite the Hitler dream, I wasn't drawing the parallels between Hitler and the Antichrist. When it's right in front of you, sometimes it's harder to see. And love, when I found out he was my child, or my first child, the Antichrist with Lucifer, it broke my heart that they'd use him and program him, and I went back to him to try and help him. I thought I could stop him from becoming evil. I'm the spirit of a child and don't fully understand evil or why it exists, and I thought he hadn't come to fruition yet. I thought of him as a person, as I believed him still to be half mammalian and half reptilian, as he was in the beginning, when I gave birth to him. He might have been half draconian, I'm not sure, but I think the draconians became draconians with the cannibalizing of the blood. But I'm not 100% sure. It never occurred to me that it wasn't mind control that caused the scene at the bed and breakfast where he nearly killed me. It was the Antichrist tasked with taking me out by his father. I knew he was my first child with Lucifer when he was Adam, and I felt responsibility to be with him, to love him. It also never occurred to me that the Antichrist was jumping bodies, which I would later find out was the case. David wasn't the Antichrist was in him. David's Wi-Fi would constantly go out so that I couldn't stream. I ended up outside one day, walking the road barefoot in the rain, streaming on TikTok, and I was told the people on my stream, I told the people on my stream I was the Jesus figure. I hadn't yet figured out I was Mary Magdalene, and a person on my live, Carson, had faith in me. He introduced his friends to me, and some of them have been with me for years, experiencing everything and helping me through everything I have gone through. I believe they were with me when I was Mary Magdalene, fighting for freedom. They are my disciples, and I'm proud to call them my friends. More than that, they're my children. I did videos about government experiments that I knew of while delving into the abyss of information that had been declassified by the CIA. A Clockwork Orange was about an aversive therapy that was studied in the 70s. They couldn't continue practice because it was deemed inhumane, as the subjects of the experiments were rendered defenseless when confronted with violence. As well, I did a video on the Stanford prison experiment. In this particular experiment, ordinary people were put in the position of guards, and ordinary people were put in the position of prisoners. They were to role play in a prison setting. It wasn't long before the guards began abusing the prisoners, regardless of their innocence, just because they were in a position of power. This was a window into human nature. Abuse of power is a major problem in our world today, as we are ultimately run by a small, tight-knit group of sadists at the top. I was blocked from posting on YouTube. I didn't have the same options as other people on TikTok. I couldn't go live with people for a long while. My handle on X was hidden for a time being as well. I tried to create an OnlyFans to stream conspiracies and address some reverse psychology. I said I was going to get a blow-up doll and print out pictures of the elite's faces and paste them to the face of the dolls. When I tried to register, I couldn't get past the registration page where you take a picture of your license. Your freedom is an illusion. One of the first occurrences to show that the COVID shots had served to bring out the reptilian in people happened in a live stream. I had my friend Allie on my stream and her arm had turned bright green. This was not due to a filter of any kind. I told her to go outside and touch Mother Earth, and the skin on her arm restored a fleshy pigment. I wrote Illuminati members on X and told them the CIA, the Cabal, and also the Illuminati put a hit on me. I had written the CIA, the FBI, the International Crimes Commission, Interpol, and other government agencies about the zombie apocalypse and my attempted assassination. I wrote the president, Donald Trump, and people in power about them creating a crime profile on me, because if you've ever seen The Net or Utopia, they can do that too. I posted on Donald Trump's page, "You must be using some of your brain for that stylish comb-over you've got going, because there doesn't seem to be anything left in your skull." I posted on Adam Sandler's page on a banned Instagram account calling him the biggest Nazi there ever was. He talked a lot about Jennifer Aniston's pizza parties. Pizza means little girl, I believe. And ice cream means little ethnic boy. And Joe Biden loves ice cream. Every food they order stands for a type of child. I found out later it's little black boy, I think. These are fucking menus for what kind of kid and what you can do to them. I even called the Hayden Planetarium in hopes to get Neil deGrasse Tyson on the phone. I never got a call back. I believe he is Illuminati. Stephen Greer, who runs the Gaia streams, has information on universal consciousness, and I looked everywhere for any contact information on him but found nothing. He is an ex-CIA agent with classified information on aliens. He has revealed some of the information, but says that he's holding back some of it in case anyone tries to have him killed. I didn't hold anything back, but I know the feeling of being a target, and I am writing this in order to make you more aware and to free myself as well. I had a dream that I was wandering in an abandoned neighborhood that was full of mansions. I went inside one and saw fruit that I was urged to eat but didn't, being that I thought the apples might have razors in them for some reason. From the looks of the place, it was an Illuminati home. A black woman in a monochromatic gray suit that looked much like Dr. Evils from Austin Powers came in to lead me outside. Will Smith was waiting for me and proceeded to lead me out into the desert, which was all around the homes. He then crucified me. I was strung up on a cross right before I woke up. The people in Scientology and Illuminati are all people who were part of the mobs that crucified me as Mary Magdalene. That's why they're like certain bloodlines that were organized together, that were influenceable, like able to be influenceable easily and also as used as influencers. I was watching Medical Police on an app on the television when captions started flickering. I have a video of it posted on my Facebook. The captions read, "Collins. We just love when things go ... viral." It must have come up at least 2 to 10 times. This was when I was prophesizing the zombie apocalypse. The Collins are an Illuminati family working under the Farnese family, from what I understand. The demon zombie apocalypse was already underway as people were getting possessed on my lives regularly. I have the video up on my social media. I had gone to police, but they wouldn't listen to me about the poisoning and about the captions on my television. The 13 Illuminati families are the Astor bloodline, the Bundy bloodline, the Collins bloodline, the DuPont bloodline, the Freeman bloodline, the Kennedy bloodline, the Lee bloodline, the Onassis bloodline, the Reynolds bloodline, the Rockefeller bloodline, the Rothschild bloodline, the Russell bloodline, and the Van Duyn bloodline. They all have a monopoly on some sect of product in our world. For example, the Bundy bloodline runs the trade in livestock, and the Rothschilds have cornered the housing market. The 13 families that actually rule the world are the Borgia bloodline, the Breakspear bloodline, the Samaglia bloodline, the Orsini bloodline, the Conti bloodline, the Chicchi bloodline, the Colonia bloodline, the Farnese bloodline, the Medici bloodline, the Gaetini bloodline, the Pamphili bloodline, the Este bloodline, and the Aldo Brandini bloodline. These are the royal or papal bloodlines that try and keep their blood pure by means of marrying within the family, basically incestuous practices. So I guess the Rothschild was, and maybe Rockefeller were Orsini family at one time too. Carson happened to be friends with Ryan Reynolds and Mark Ruffalo. I had written on their walls on X, and Carson spoke to them about it. They had believed me but didn't know what to do about it. Ryan Reynolds gave me a shout out so that I could go live faster, but he is part of the Illuminati. You would have thought if he told the world I was a government hit and the Papal bloodlines, the Illuminati might have backed off. There's a possibility that they would have gone after him if he did say something, but if people were speaking the truth and unafraid to lose their investments and movie contracts, I believe this all would have ended a long time ago. That is unless he's already a reptilian. Or an alpha reptilian or a draconian. I had a dream where I went to Ryan Reynolds for help. I was a giant and he was just a small human. I was outside his house talking to him through his window while he was at his desk asking for help. He said, "We want hell." There was a whole grouping of celebrities that were calling lawyers about what I had said online to them. They were all banding together to sue me because I offended them. We came to the conclusion that he was compromised due to his Mint Mobile dealings. Cobalt is mined in Africa by men, women, and children for our cell phones. They're using slave labor. Most of the stocks in the stock market are the use of slave labor. The companies just outsource for cheaper work using sweatshops and places where they pay the lowest wages, if any, for the mining and making of products. This is like Fabletics, I think, stuff like that. Like run anything, all this stuff run by celebrities. They have no morals. There is a temple in Chichen Itza where a girl ran up it and began to turn serpentine the closer she got to the top. It brought out the reptilian DNA in her. NASA, which means to deceive in Hebrew, fenced off the temple and harvested the frequency. I believe that frequency was then placed in all your smartphones. The Sumerians, or the Anunnaki, brought the technology from Mars to create pyramids because the pyramids put off satanic frequencies. That is why the triangle is the symbol for the Illuminati. David had told me Hitler opened demon alien portals during his regime. These demon entities inhabited bodies, thus creating the Nazi regime, which still holds power today. The Nazis partook in cannibalism and collected demonic artifacts during the Third Reich. I believe Germana Nordum and the Thule Society were simply absorbed by the Illuminati. Project Paperclip outlines how the United States adopted some of the Nazi scientists to work on projects for the government. Such things as the chronovisor, held by the Vatican, is an example of a project that was worked on with Nazi scientists. The chronovisor is known to be able to see past events. If you didn't know, there are a series of tunnels under the Vatican used for trafficking, and I believe labs as well, laboratories with the reptilians. The kind they found under P. Diddy's house leading to a number of celebrities' houses, and the kind under Denver Airport, which is most likely situated on portals. The Vatican also has Luciferian artwork in the alphabetical maze beneath it, and in Arizona is a powerful telescope of theirs named Lucifer. After I got 2 facial piercings, I had a left black eye for a couple months. I did not know that at the time that it wasn't the piercing. The Antichrist might have transferred the vril parasite to me through sex. It was a way in which reptilians took over the bodies of humans. There was a mimic protocol on all my thoughts. It was enough to drive a person crazy. For every thought I had, a sentence was formed. I tried using a protractor-like method for discerning where the streams were coming from. I thought if I could pinpoint the exact locations, I could figure out who is Lucifer. Desperately to do it. Who is Lucifer, who is Gaia, who is the Antichrist, and who are the demons. I tried desperately to do it from feeling that the government had everything synced. But the government had everything synced so that they could make any message feel any way they wanted it to. I've gotten better at identifying if the inner source is mine or not from the ease I feel from it and its reassurance. But they have the ability to make the stream seem like the voice of God, if they want to. The one thing I knew for sure was Gaia was her statement, "There is nothing to fear but fear itself." Now the streams come from wherever they want, but are labeled with whom they come from. For the most part, that's like how I get my telepathy. David was the worst when he was drunk. The Antichrist had more power over him when he was drunk because they work in the subconscious, and man the avatar from there. He woke up punching me in the neck after getting drunk one night. I gave him a couple kidney shots and went to call the police. He told me he would have me locked up for my beliefs because that's what his kind of money could do. He would call me crazy and try and tell me he couldn't have kids with me because they would take them away on account of what I believed about him, about everything. And he wasn't that far from the truth with that. But I didn't want kids anyway. By the end of the relationship, he had tried to get me pregnant 5 times. I believe I was supposed to usher in a new Antichrist. So I adamantly took the day after pill, especially when I saw where he kept his ex-girlfriend, Grace, and his children with her. They lived in a house where he had a 1-bedroom apartment upstairs and she had a 2-bedroom downstairs. The kids took the bedrooms and she slept on the couch. I let him treat me like shit in some manners, but I knew the government was watching constantly at that point. I wanted to show them I could train and love the Antichrist, change him, because everyone has the capability for change. Strangely, if we argued, he would normally listen to me. He was intolerable when he got drunk. He even once told me he was going to sue my parents for making me so worthless when I didn't go out and get him another bottle of booze. Meanwhile, I don't have a license because of the blackouts, and I'm having trouble getting it back. Not because my doctor didn't fill it out, because he did fill it out. For some reason, the paperwork just isn't going through. And I think I know why. They mean to isolate people. He was for sure one of the most miserable people I had ever met, but I prided myself on trying to make him happy. I thought if I can make him happy, he won't be the Antichrist anymore. David had me sleeping on an air mattress for a period of at least 9 months, a deflating air mattress. As well, David tried to get me to have a 3-way with him and another man, or he asked me to at one point. They were both on government watch lists. There were just too many parallels between the Antichrist and Lucifer to be ignored. Him and Brock. Which stands for Big Rock. He woke up calling me a whore one night out of nowhere, and the idea of ever being with him and another man was disintegrated. As if I had to think about it at all. It was a definite no for me. David told me an anecdote about him, his ex-wife, and his girlfriend at the time. He told me that he brought his girlfriend with them to Florida for a vacation. His wife, realizing the state of their relationship, had gone into the ocean and tried to drown herself while pregnant with his first daughter, he told me. He smirked and laughed while telling the story. He then told me he took the same girlfriend with him to get matching tattoos on their sides of a gigantic yin-yang that matches up when they put their sides together. The mother of his other children was pregnant at the time with one of his daughters. He also has a tattoo of a skull and crossbones that he said he chose because it was the symbol of the cavalry in the army, but now seems reminiscent of a tribute to the fraternity Skull and Bones. He chose the other one he had off a wall at the tattoo parlor as if he knows nothing about permanence or doesn't care. David had also told me that he once went to a priest to perform an exorcism. David believed he had demons in him. The priest turned him away in fear that the demons would jump out of David and into him. He told me he had signed away his soul and blood to Satan when he was a child for immortality because of a silly obsession with vampires. To boot, he had sulfur water in his apartment. When I paid for my own day after pills, we ran out of water. He would try and get me to drink it while I was sick, getting rid of any chance that I was pregnant with his child. It was disgusting. I honestly don't know how long they used David as a container, but it seemed like they had been manning his avatar for a very long time. I realized before long that I was Gaia and I had universal consciousness. I was hearing everyone everywhere. The Pleiadians, the Lyrans, the Arcturians, and now I realize the Andromedans as well, those are on the good side, were with me, wanting harmony, balance, and prosperity. The Greys, Draconians, and Reptilians were not. I had the angels on my side. Oh, my computer just died. So I will continue this next time. I'll continue with the book on my next installation.